I love you, Sophie.
Ik hou ook van jou. Lee. Very much.
This is hard. Okay, really quickly breaking in to myself to say that I've actually been working on this video for weeks now. As you can see, different clothes, same super long hair. I have been agonizing over this video, trying to figure out what to say, what clips to include, what tone to set. And I've been trying to satisfy some perfectionist part of me that wants to get this just right, when the truth is it's messy. And that's what I said in my first video that it would be. And it is. This is the story of what's happened between 2003, when Sophie and I first met, and when we first parted ways. And I just want to say thank you all for giving me the space to explore this. I'd love to say that I've made my peace with this, but this space is helping me to do that. I can't promise a happy ending to this first video, but there are a lot of really wonderful moments starting when we first met. But I can promise a happy ending to the story. Here I am with the love of my life. For almost a decade, she was the one that got away, but I won her back. I did need to move to Europe, because that's where she's from. In fact, this is me back in July, in the middle of a pandemic, flying from JFK in New York to the Netherlands. Now I have her, a cat, a bike, and maybe most impactful, her 2 kids. I'm a stepdad in a foreign land. This is my life. In the summer of 2003, I was living in New York working a corporate job, and Sophie was studying in the Netherlands. Through fate and mutual friends, we both wound up spending July 4th weekend at a house in New Hampshire. It didn't take long before she and I started talking, and there was an instant, undeniable spark.
My very first memory of meeting you were on the floor in a sleeping bag. Then I sort of like, hello, said good morning. And then I took a shower and I put on my new dress that I actually always kept. and there you were sitting in an armchair, very comfortable, very relaxed. You said, where did you go? And I said, well, I took a shower and got dressed. And you looked at me, like really looked at me all the way and glanced up and down, and then you said, and you did a really nice job. And that's when I knew.
Over the last couple of weeks, Sophie and I took a trip down memory lane and asked each other questions about our early years. What's your memory of what happened when we left New Hampshire?
That heavy, heavy feeling in your heart where you're not sure if you're ever going to see someone again, but you know that the experience of meeting that person has changed you. That's what it felt like.
The very next spring, Sophie scored herself an internship with a well-known Dutch television correspondent based in New York and made her way back to the States.
I tried to reach out to you. You weren't really responding. I sent you a couple of emails. It was before WhatsApp and smartphones, obviously, so I didn't have a cell phone in America because I was only going to be there for 3 months, and the cell phone system was different than in the Netherlands, and I couldn't get it to work properly, so I didn't really feel like I could reach out to you, and it was frustrating because I felt like, oh, but I'm so close, you know, I'm in the same city, but I was on the Upper West Side, and then like not Upper West Side, but like upper up, like basically in Harlem. And you were living on the East Side, way lower. and still seemed like the other end of the world. You know, we would never run into each other, of course. Basically, really had to sit and wait and hope that you would reach out to me. And obviously, I was having a lot of fun and working and all these things, but all the while really hoping that you would drop me a line, like you said. There are all these expressions that you used in your emails to me, but they were always very short messages. So I could never really tell if there were any warm feelings.
In my weakest moments, I always just want to reach out to Sophie and let her know that there were always warm feelings. And that even though I couldn't put words to it, I always loved her very much. And listening to a lot of these things now, it's really hard. And it hurts. Even knowing that we're together now, you know.
I was thinking, oh, maybe I made way too big of a deal in my head about it. Maybe you're not that impressed by the fact that I managed to get myself an internship in New York, because over here it was considered to be quite a cool thing, you know, that I'd be going to New York. And then finally you responded and we made a date, and it was really cool.
2006 was a great year, and for us, it started with a trip I made to visit Sophie in her new home in Utrecht in March.
Would that then mean that we have a breakthrough? Are you, like, are we getting serious? I was very excited about that.
We took walks in the forest, toured around the country. She even gave me a personal tour of Den Haag, the seat of government in the Netherlands.
So we're in Den Haag. This is the building of our national government, and it's not even further, and we'll show you.
And how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Lee? Hiding behind your camera? Show yourself. Huh?
I will.
You will.
But I had only just moved to Utrecht, and so I didn't know so well where I was going. The thing that I really, really, really loved about you being with me is that at least you had become part of my life here, which is where I spent, of course, most of my time. So whenever I would be in the train, I would think about the train ride from the airport to Utrecht, and you looked out the window and asked, what's that river, what's that canal called? And I didn't know, and then someone next to us in the seat said, it's the Amsterdam Rijnkanaal. And then I would hear that in my head every time I would pass that water. That street corner where you sang to me, I passed that a million times, also years and years after that, even with children on the front and the back of my bike, thinking, yeah, that was a special moment, and just really, really enjoying the fact that there were traces of you in my life everywhere.
After that, I invited her to be my date to a good friend's wedding in May, where we took some of my favorite photos of the two of us together, and then spent a wonderful July 4th weekend together on a campsite in New Hampshire, exactly 3 years after we'd first met.
I remember picking you up at the bus stop, taking you out for lunch, sitting on the table where it was right next to the doors on 34th Street, 3rd Avenue, and there was like one of those open windows, and we sat at a table right next to the open window, and for years after I would walk by that spot and I would always look at that table.
See, those were traces of me.
Yeah,
Were you in love with me?
definitely. I don't have much experience with love apart from you.
I think 2006 was a real turning point for us because we had so much fun together when she was visiting me or I was visiting her. And then there was a lot of change that happened. I left the corporate world. I started training to become an actor. I started an editing business. I was trying to make my way, and I lost perspective on how sincere and thoughtful Sophie was. And honestly, I feel like there was a part of me that didn't believe that someone could feel that way about me.
So after over a year of being apart and only talking over the phone, instant messenger, and email, Sophie came to see me in New York that October. We hung out on my building's rooftop, walked in Central Park, went out for dinner, and had so much fun together. That's also when we took the trip upstate, and when I shot the clip you saw at the beginning of this video.
Are you filming me?
Yep.
That's so beautiful.
I still can't get over how beautiful she is.
I had started dating, but fairly casually dating, the man I would end up marrying and having children with. But since it was so casual, I had told him there's something I need to sort out in New York. So, I mean, it was really like, come on, how long have we been doing this? Is this something or is it nothing? And if it's, and we both know it's something, but if you're not willing to admit it by now, then I'm not gonna wait forever. I was just so in love with you, but you were working endlessly on a couple of projects, and you were taking that so incredibly serious, and you couldn't prioritize me. And it wasn't for the sake of wanting to be prioritized. I mean, I'm not that high maintenance, but I just wanted to see, okay, for these, I think I was there for 2 weeks, right? I thought in these 2 weeks, I want to see if our union was important enough to really make time for in that limited period that we had available to us. I remember being really sad after coming back after that trip. But I didn't stop loving you or anything like that. I don't think I ever stopped loving you. So even after that, after all the frustration, everything that happened, I still loved you, but I did draw the conclusion that a relationship with you just was not going to really happen. And still, I flew out one more time.
Nearly 2 years after we'd last seen each other, Sophie reached out to me to say that she was making another trip to New York and wanted to see me. When she called, I always felt like we'd only spoken the day before.
I do remember the trip in 2009 being the one where you really showed most of yourself. I mostly remember this one time when we had gone out and you took me back to my apartment, the place that I was staying, and you accompanied me home, and then after just a minute or so, you rang the doorbell and you came back, and it was this very dramatic film moment where you just rushed to my door and hugged me, and You said, I think you said something like, I don't want to let you go. Don't let you go, you're everything. But by that time, I thought, yes, okay, so. And in Central Park, that I remember that to be such a pivotal moment, but I know you have a different recollection, but I remember this very, very significant moment, to me at least, it was very significant, where you said, in Central Park, we went out for this lovely walk, and there was this beautiful autumn weather, this golden New York day, and you said to me as we're sitting on a bench in Central Park, you said, what would you say if I were to ask you to marry me? And I said, I can't answer a hypothetical question. And then nothing happened. And I think I left the next day and I thought, oh, this was it.